The first time I saw his reflection, I laughed because who the hell expects a shirtless man in armor to stare back at them from a bathroom mirror in Ohio? But the second time, I didn't laugh. The second time, he moved. I was 22, failing college in the most spectacular way possible, and spending most nights hiding from my problems in my dead grandmother's house. The place was cluttered with relics she had collected from antique stores, thrift shops, and God knows where. Among them stood the mirror tall, cracked at the corners, framed with black iron twisted into patterns like vines. She used to tell me never to touch it. Of course, I didn't listen. At first, it was nothing, just my reflection, maybe a trick of the light. But then I noticed his eyes. They weren't mine. They were darker, fiercer, carrying a weight of something that didn't belong to me. And when I leaned closer, breath fogging the surface, he leaned closer too, not mimicking me, but studying me. "You see me," he whispered. I swear to God. The sound came not from the air, but inside my chest. I fell backward, knocking over a stack of National Geographics. My heart was a drum in my throat. This wasn't funny anymore. For days I avoided the mirror. I covered it with an old bedsheet, shoved a bookshelf in front of it. Anything to stop the thought of his face haunting me. But curiosity is a cruel thing. On the sixth night, when insomnia clawed me raw, I dragged the sheet away and stood there again. "Who are you?" I whispered. The man in the glass was more real than before. I could see the sweat glistening at his temple, the faint scars across his jaw. His armor looked battered, his shoulders broad and exhausted as if he'd been fighting for centuries. He looked at me like I was the first human being he'd seen in forever. "My name," he said, voice low, trembling with something I couldn't name, "is Kale." And just like that, I was caught. The following nights blurred into a strange kind of obsession. I would sit cross-legged in front of the mirror, whispering to him. He told me about battles long gone, of kings and betrayals, of blood spilled in the name of glory. But beneath all that steel and fire, he spoke with a softness I didn't expect. He confessed he had been sealed inside the mirror by a curse, punished for defying the order he once served. "You were a soldier?" I asked one night. "I was a warrior," he corrected, lips curving in a humorless smile. "And I paid the price for choosing love over loyalty." That line cut through me. My throat tightened. I didn't ask more. Not then. There was something magnetic about him. The way his gaze lingered on me, like I wasn't just some lost kid with a mountain of student debt, but someone worth remembering. And when his hand pressed against the inside of the glass, I found myself pressing mine to meet it. The cold shock of the surface separated us, but I swore I could feel the heat of his skin on the other side. The house began to change. Lights flickered when I spoke to him. The mirror's surface rippled, shimmering like water whenever I touched it. Once, half asleep, I thought I heard him breathing across the room. Then it happened. That night the storm outside howled so hard the windows shook. I woke to find the mirror glowing faintly, pale light spilling onto the floorboards. My pulse raced. I stumbled toward it barefoot, drawn like gravity. "Kale?" His face was clearer than ever, his body shifting like he was fighting to push through. He looked tortured, desperate. "I need you," he rasped. "Touch it, please." My hand lifted before my brain could stop me. When my fingertips brushed the glass, it wasn't cold this time. It burned. I gasped, jerking back, but the pull was too strong. A surge of heat rushed into me, my vision blurred, and then he fell, right through the glass, onto my grandmother's hardwood floor. I stumbled backward, heart thundering so loud I thought my ribs might crack. He was there, real, sprawled at my feet. The weight of him shook the ground when he landed. His hair spilled like ink across the wood, his chest rising and falling with the labored breath of someone tasting air for the first time in centuries. I should have run. I should have screamed, or called the cops, or at least convinced myself I was dreaming. But I didn't. I knelt beside him, trembling, and touched his shoulder. His skin was warm. His eyes opened slowly, locking on mine with an intensity that made my stomach flip. "You freed me," he whispered, voice hoarse but filled with awe. His hand reached up, fingers curling weakly around mine. No one has ever. No one dared. I swallowed hard, my throat dry. What happens now? His lips curved into the faintest smile, tired and dangerous and heartbreakingly beautiful. Now, he said, the past comes for me, and you whether you want it or no do you re part of it. I never expected my quiet life in Ohio to turn into a battlefield between centuries-old curses and the boy I was starting to fall for. But once Cale stepped out of that mirror, the line between my reality and his past blurred until neither of us knew where we stood. The weeks that followed were a fever dream. Cale was learning the modern world, staring at light switches like they were magic, tasting pizza like it was a royal delicacy, fumbling through my closet trying to figure out why people in this century wore hoodies. But beneath the wonder was a shadow. The curse that had trapped him hadn't ended. It lingered, chasing him and through him, me. Some nights I would wake to the sound of his screams, his body drenched in sweat, the air around him thick with a dark presence. He confessed the truth then. He had loved another man, centuries ago, a forbidden love that defied the brutal code of his kingdom. They were discovered. His lover was executed, and Cale was sealed away for his defiance. His voice cracked when he told me this. His hands trembled. I swore I'd never let myself love again, he whispered. It destroyed him. It destroyed me. But then he looked at me like he was trying to hold back a tide stronger than any oath. And my chest ached with something I couldn't contain. The storm broke one evening when the mirror began to pulse with black light. The curse wasn't finished. It had followed him into my world, a shadow that sought to reclaim him. Glass splintered, winds howled inside the room, and Cale grabbed me, shielding me with his body. I can't let it take you, he growled, gripping my shoulders tight. His eyes burned with the fire of a man ready to die again if it meant protecting me. No, I snapped, refusing to let centuries of tragedy repeat themselves. You don't get to sacrifice yourself again. Not this time. The shadow roared, its form twisting out of the mirror. I felt coldness claw at my skin, pulling Cale toward the darkness. Instinct took over. I wrapped my arms around him, refusing to let go. You said love doomed you once. Then let love save you now. He froze, eyes wide, as if my words cracked something in him the curse never could. Slowly, he clutched me back, arms fierce, unyielding. And for the first time since he'd stepped into my world, Cale pressed his forehead against mine. The shadow screamed, thrashing, but the more we held each other, the weaker it became. The mirror rattled violently, then shattered into 1,000 pieces. The curse was gone. The silence afterward was deafening. When the dust settled, Cale was still in my arms, solid, breathing, alive. His chest heaved against mine as if he couldn't believe it either. He pulled back just enough to look at me, his face raw and unguarded. I swore I would never love again, he murmured, voice breaking. But I think I already do. Tears stung my eyes. I laughed, shaky and breathless, pressing my hand against his cheek. Good. Because I think I've been falling since the moment you called my name. Life after the curse wasn't easy. Cale had no place in this world, no history, no documents. But somehow we made it work. He learned to live here, stumbling through every strange modern ritual with me by his side. And I learned what it meant to carry someone's past without letting it crush us. Sometimes, when the nights were quiet, we'd sit on the porch together, his arm around my shoulders, my head against his chest. He'd talk about the stars, how they looked the same as the ones from his world, but how he never thought he'd see them free again. And every time he said that, I would squeeze his hand, grounding him here, reminding him that he wasn't alone anymore. We were both scarred by the loneliness of a world that never quite fit, him by the cruelty of a past that tried to erase him. But together, we found something neither time nor curses could destroy. Not tragedy, not sacrifice, not pain, but love. And for the first time in either of our lives, it was enough. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.